Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 17. I'm traveling, and so I've got my travel wine glass tripod hookup. So I'll be back home tomorrow and back to my usual setup. I didn't have a lot of time for my painting today, and so I just sort of went with kind of a colorful base. I am in a warm tropical environment right now. And that I think has been inspiring my bright colors in these paintings these last couple of days. Not that I don't use bright colors in general, but I was really enjoying that. And there is something luscious about that quinacridone magenta color in my palette that I'm just really loving. So you'll see me pull that out here in a minute. And typically what I do, and you don't really see my palette on camera, that when I use my mixing wells, I usually just pull from those colors. So whatever is in there is what I'm using. And I did that rainbow type bright colored painting yesterday. So there's a lot of bright color in there, but there's that gorgeous magenta. And you see me holding this up again. What I'm doing is trying to avoid falling into that perspective trap where she's going to look extra long. So I'm holding it up a little bit so I can see a little bit more clearly. I've got her off center, still very abstract. I'm really enjoying watercolor. This journey's been really fun because I've got to play so far with acrylic ink and now watercolor, but really be reminded of what I loved about each medium. And we go into oil next. And my plan with oil is to use a more traditional oil painting approach. I will have a 10-day stint where I'm going to use oil sticks in drying oils, which is a drying medium, but it's oil paint. So I really want to go from watercolor to oil paint and be reminded of that. I don't paint with oil in a traditional manner very often. So I'm looking forward to exploring that. So I'm just layering up some color here. I've got the warm side of her face, the cool side of her face, getting in some dimension, some of those Riley rhythms around her chin, and I'll do one in her forehead, her cheeks, trying to layer in a little bit of darkness for her eyes. I'm working fairly wet into wet, so I'm having to allow things to dry as much as I can. But I've got to run to a meeting, and so I don't really have a lot of time to just sit and let things dry today. I'm doing my voiceover later, so I've got a little more time to digest what I've been doing. And next to the purpley color in the shadows and the greenish yellow of the highlights, I think that purple really shines. Darkening up her lips a little bit. I'll go back in and add a little bit more of a dark line for her lips as well. I'm just trying to layer in some color. And I'm using a water brush, which is not my favorite way to paint with watercolor. The last couple of days, you saw me use my travel watercolor brushes with a glass of water. This is a water brush that has the water inside the brush. And I'm not a huge fan of these when I'm trying to do anything where I need to control the water. They're great for backgrounds and doing more abstract type things, making shapes. But I'm not a fan because I can't control the water very well. And maybe there's a way to do it that I just don't know, but it can be a real challenge. Like you'll see here, I'm going in and trying to add a little bit of lightness around her eyes, and there's just so much water coming out of that brush. It's really hard to get the paint the consistency that I like. So not my favorite brush to use for this, but I'm doing what I can. I didn't really have time to break out the travel brushes and let them dry. So I'm going for the water brush here. Adding in a little bit of that orange, which I love to layer to create brown eyes there. I'm adding a little bit of dark to define her mouth. And that's all the time for today. There she is. I kind of love the looseness, the bright colors. Her nose is a bit of a hot mess. Noses are my nemesis, but I love her anyway. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back home tomorrow with a few more days of watercolor, and then we're off to oil paint. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next one. Thanks. Bye.